Hi guys, welcome to the channel. Today I'm going to talk about a practical topic that might be of interest if you are a newcomer here in Finland or if you're planning to move to Finland in the near future. So I'm going to talk about how you could find private accommodation for a long-term rental here in Finland. Now, this is September already, and I know that this is a time that lots of students do come to Finland to start their studies. Now, if you are a student, however, most of the time, if you're fortunate, most of the time you can find student accommodation through your university. If that is the case, you're all set. You do not have a lot of things to worry about when it comes to your accommodation. However, if you're a professional or even if sometimes you're a student and if things have gone wrong and you are not able to find student accommodation, you might be forced to look for private accommodation. So I'm going to talk about how you can do this. We're going to go through some online websites where you can look for private rentals, some things to keep in mind when you're looking for a long-term rental apartment here in Finland, and also why I do not recommend you to sign a contract before you are here in Finland. When it comes to looking for rental properties here in Finland, two websites comes to mind. Of course, there are many, but I think the most popular are Vuokraovi and Oikotie, right? So if you go to any of these websites, you can find rental properties as well as properties for sale. I'm going to go to Vuokraovi in this case, and let's do a search together. For example, if you are coming to Espoo, and let's say you're looking for an apartment with at least 2 rooms, and let's say rent less than 1,000 euros, living area of 45 meters per square, this will list you some properties. Now, why I want to show you this is most of these websites will list apartments from private landlords as well as from housing companies. So there is a bit of a difference, right? So when it comes to private landlords, you can contact them directly, but whereas when it comes to housing companies, you will have to apply through the housing company. So if you click on an housing company property here, it's going to redirect you to their website and you will have to fill in the details and do it through their website. So let's take an example here. For example, if I go to this listing, which is from a private landlord, you could see that this is apartment with 2 rooms, H standing for Huone, which is 2 rooms. Keittiö means kitchen, sauna, and you can find how much it costs you for a month, 850 euros in this case. And also this site is available both in Finnish and English, so you could look at all of these details in English, although the description and all of that might be still here in Finnish depending on how it has been updated on the site. Now, another thing that you should note here is that you can usually see what the deposit is along with the rent. Now, when it comes to the deposit, usually it's about 2 months of rent. There are cases where it's only 1 month as well, but usually 2 months. So in this case, what this says is 2 kuukauden vuokra vastaava. That means 2 months deposit is required. And in this case also water is included in the rent, but I want to advise you that most of the time water will be charged separately per person. So you have to keep that also in your mind. And another thing that you need to know when you're signing a rental agreement is that usually this means that you're signing it for a minimum of 12 months. So what that means is if you were to cancel this agreement before 12 months, you might have to pay a penalty from your deposit, which is usually 1 month's rent, right? And now the difference when it comes to whether it's from a private landlord or from a company is that in this case, because this is from a private landlord, you can contact them directly. You can type a message here, your contact information, and tell them a little bit about yourself, why you're moving here, and whether you have a job, and all of those things. Now, generally, landlords prefer to rent out their apartments to people with permanent jobs. Understandably, they want to see that you are able to afford the apartment and continue to stay there, right? So that also has to be mentioned. However, if you try to do this via a housing company, one thing, they might put you on a list because several people might be applying to the same property. And the other thing, you might have to actually authenticate yourself digitally. Now, this is something I've spoken about before, what is known as banking credentials in Finland. I made a video about this separately, so go check it out if you haven't seen that. But what it means is that this is a way for you to digitally authenticate yourself remotely, right? So this is also why I think that if you've not yet arrived to Finland, it might be a little bit difficult for you to actually sign a contract for a long-term rental. Either you have to be here physically to sign a contract, or else you have to have banking credentials to sign a contract digitally. So if you're not here in Finland, and if you also don't have banking credentials, it's going to be a little bit tricky to sign that contract, even if you and the landlord agree that you want to rent this property. And another reason is because you are entering into a long-term agreement, it might be better that you're already here and you are able to visit a couple of places, see where they're located, see what the transport connections are, have an idea of the neighborhood before actually confirming something for a 12-month period. And this is why I usually recommend to actually book a short-term rental. Maybe it's Airbnb or something like that. And there's also another Finnish company called Fornom. So they are kind of like apart hotels. They call themselves apart hotels, something in between an apartment and a hotel. Where I've also had experience with these kind of accommodation for temporary purposes. So this is useful where you can stay in that place for a temporary amount of time, let's say a month or two, until you find a permanent place, because it gives you time to come here, settle down, and then look for apartments, and also you are physically present here to do the signing. So that is my general advice. If you are not able to find student housing or other means of permanent residence here, to first look for temporary residence and then find a long-term rental. However, if you're already here and you decided to go for a long-term rental, you need to make your own electricity contract plus home insurance once you move in. So usually electricity is not included in the rent, and also the home insurance. These are two things that you need to do separately. And again, it will help if you do have banking credentials to do this too, conveniently and digitally. I spoke about all of the things that I do needed to mention here. One more thing is that if you still want to find something temporary, affordable, if you're a student and you're looking for affordable accommodation, maybe like a room, there are also Facebook groups. I'll try to link some of them in the description, especially in the Helsinki area and metropolitan areas. There are Facebook groups where students may sublet their apartments or their apartment rooms if they're going on exchange, if they're going on vacation, maybe one month to 3 months, something like that. That is also an option. However, I want to tell you to be a little bit cautious, because there have been scams where people have been scammed through Facebook, where they have been promised to give accommodation, and some people have actually transferred them money, but to come here and find that this was a scam. So this is why I would urge you to be careful. If you're not already here, do not make deposits or do not make any cash transfers if you do not trust the other party. This is why I also recommend you to kind of maybe go for a temporary residence like Airbnb or Fornom, and then look for long-term rentals. But this is what I wanted to talk about today, especially because I've had many questions regarding finding accommodation, especially for newcomers here. I hope this video was useful and informative for you. And let me know what you guys think in the comments as well, if you found other ways to overcome some of these challenges, especially when it comes to banking credentials. If you found a way to overcome that as newcomer here in Finland when finding accommodation. And if you like the video, give me a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button to talk about more videos like this. I'll catch you guys in another one. Thank you.